Hello, everyone. How are you today? Today, we have with us Jeff Irvine, President of Innovision, a performance based digital agency. Hi, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Dawood?
Doing well, doing well. Lovely to have you today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jeff, before we start diving deep into the discussion, it would be great if you could introduce yourself and your company for our viewers.
hmm Okay. So my name's Jeff Irvine. I started Innovision in early 2013 after working for a digital marketing company. Been in this industry now for 15 years, and one of the reasons I started Innovision is wanted to be not only a complete marketing solution for local and regional businesses, but also offer an affordable SEO solution. That was going to get those results. It's in this industry, you see things in terms of pricing and just service. It's all over the place, and I felt I could do a better job that's focused on the customer, focused on the results, but also make it affordable for local businesses. So, my goal has always been to put the customer first, get the results, and make it affordable for anyone.
Right, right. Jeff, also earlier in your career at NGM, you worked with local and regional businesses and helped them, combine traditional and online marketing. How was that
Yes.
experience?
So that was my first experience of getting into digital marketing. I'd never been in marketing. I've always been in sales. Never really been in the marketing and web development game. And back then, what we were doing is we were traveling and working with media companies such as radio, television, and print stations all over the nation. So it was a fascinating time in my life where I really got to see the entire US. We would be on a plane leaving to somewhere Monday, come back Friday, and turn around the next Monday and go to a different area within the US. So we got to do a lot of travel, got to see a lot of people, and also got to learn quite a bit about not only how traditional media works, but how when you use traditional media, online media, and web development and have it work as one, the results you can actually generate for a business.
Right, right. Also, looking at current situation, I believe marketing, has changed. And even if we come out of the pandemic, rest of the year, we will see change in, the market and consumer behavior. So what are your tips on marketing during 2020 as a business?
For the situation we're in right now, it's a trying time, especially in the U.S. here. You know, every state, every county is a little bit different. Some are much more locked down than others. Regardless, though, most places consumers can't get out. They can't go do their normal day-to-day activities. A lot of businesses are shut down. So it's really the focus that you need to be focusing on right now with marketing is the ability to brand yourself. Continue to keep your name out there. Get creative with your marketing. People are bored. They're sitting at home. Social media is where they're at. So you really need to entertain people. You need to relate to them, relate to their situation. So use content ideas, use video, use imagery and messages that's going to relate to their current situation. I think that what we're going to end up seeing is as these restrictions are lifted and people can get back out, you're still going to find hesitation.
Yeah.
Some industries are going to be hit hard. They may not come back for 6 to 12 months to the kind of the full capacity of where they're at. Some will bounce back immediately. So based on whatever industry a business is in, they're going to have to adapt one way or another. People, I think, are going to hold on to money more than they were. I think that people were spending and spending and spending. We had a good economy. There was money coming in, there was money going out. And then when this hit, everyone was forced to pull back. So I think
Right.
that's going to have some ramifications with business going forward.
Right, right, right. Jeff, as an agency, when you're planning a marketing strategy for a business or a client, how do you budget across platforms, SEO versus PPC?
It's funny. I just had this conversation with a client yesterday, and what we do before we even get started is we have a very frank conversation about what their goals are. What are they looking to do, and how are we going to help them get there? there are many times that, clients come to me and say, okay, I want this, this, and this. But in reality, that's not where they need to be. They need to be spending the money based on what their short-term and long-term goals are. Are they looking for lead generation? Are they looking for brand building? What are those goals, and where do we best allocate those dollars?
Right, right. Uh, how does your SEO process look like?
So our SEO process is, it's pretty straightforward. It's data driven. So we look at not only historical metrics, if they've worked with an SEO company in the past, but it's a one-on-one conversation that we have with our clients, talking with our clients, talking about strategies, and really what their goals are. What are they trying to achieve? It's no longer just about being number one, number two on Google. It's really centered around the product, services, procedures that they're trying to attract consumers for. So it's working with them, and it could be anything from content marketing to PR to link building to traditional SEO strategies. Which one of those is going to best get the results that they're looking for?
Right, right. So when this is a very difficult one, a lot of people have hard time in figuring out. But as an agency, how do you calculate the ROI from your SEO efforts?
So, calculating the ROI is always going to be a challenge, with SEO, depending on how big of a campaign you're going to be running. Really what we want to be doing is looking at key metrics based on the goals that we've set out initially. What are those metrics that we're going to help gauge what's going to work best? Because, oftentimes what we're finding is that while we're doing SEO, we're also doing some other things as well that's going to help generate that organic traffic. Through display advertising or social media marketing, we're helping build a brand. So as people are seeing that brand organically, that's increasing their click-through ratio. So, it's no longer of just having this work over here and this work over here. They're all really working together as one. And marketing really has become a full spectrum of using different mediums that's going to help SEO. That brand awareness from traditional advertising and display advertising helps your click-through ratios in an organic search.
Right, right, right. Absolutely. When you're planning, you talked about content marketing. Now, I mean, even in SEO, the content on the page matters a lot. So when you're planning content on a particular page, how do you go about planning the content? What all elements do you include? I mean, what is your strategy? Do you look at like the top 10 pages ranking for that keyword? I mean, how do you, go about it?
Yeah, I mean, one of the first steps they always do is you look at the competitive analysis. You see who is already ranking up there. What are they doing, and what are the elements that they have in place that are already giving them an advantage over that? We take a look at that. Then what we do is we take a look at kind of the strategy and implementation of conversions. Just being able to be found on number one, or on page one, isn't enough. We need to make sure that if we're getting to a goal of the top of the page, we're getting the traffic, but it's not converting, it's irrelevant at that point. So content really comes down to not only what do we need to put on a page to get that placement, but what do we need to have on that page and those elements that's going to convert that traffic into a lead or a sale.
Right. Any tools that you use to, plan the content or look at the competitors?
Not necessarily any tools that I'll use. I've been in this industry for 15 years now, so a lot of it is based on just experience from what I've seen and what we've done. So there's no tools that we necessarily use for the actual layout or analyzing a page. We have internally structures and templates that we use based on these are the elements that we need to have on a page, whether it's a content page or a landing page, that's going to help create that conversion for us.
Right, right. Talking about conversions, how does your CRO strategy look like?
It's looking at data. That's kind of the first step. I'll always go back to data. Taking a look at what type of results are we getting, and then seeing what those percentages are. Are they in line with the industry? Are they in line with past campaigns and past strategies? So we're looking at that type of data, and then we're applying that and making adjustments to increase the conversion ratio.
Right, right. I mean, a lot of traffic comes through the blog pages. Blog content is very important now for any website.
Yep.
How do you structure, plan, and promote the blog for traffic? I mean, best practices for creating a successful strategy and editorial calendar?
So for a blog, the big thing for us is, really taking a look at uh, what are we trying to achieve with this blog. There's so many different things that you can do with a blog. And are you looking at it as an informational piece? Are you looking as it for a PR piece? Is it helping someone in some way? So whatever the objective is for that blog is really going to dictate what that layout is. It's we have to take an aesthetic approach to anything we're doing when it comes to a blog or content. Reason being is we need it to be engaging, and we need it to then to convert and lead people and lead visitors to that overall objective.
Right, right. Jeff, also, one important point which I wanted to ask was, during these times, a lot of agencies are experiencing clients pausing campaigns, or even
Uh-huh.
canceling. So when it comes to SEO, I mean, we know that, this is the time when you actually do not have to stop doing SEO if you have the cash. But, as an
Yep.
agency, I mean, are you using any strategies? How are you communicating that importance with the clients and trying to retain them?
Are we talking about this current situation right
Yeah,
now
yeah, the
that we're
current
in?
situation.
Yeah. So we've had that conversation with a lot of clients. I have a number of clients have been with me for a long time. We've had to decrease kind of what we're doing for them, more of just a maintenance. Let's not lose the placement that we're having, but let's not focus so much on gaining all that ground right now, because again, if they're shut down, or if they're only allowed to, like, for example, I have clients in ophthalmology that they can only see emergency patients right now. So their revenue is down 80%. So it's doing things that's going to help maintain the placement they have now, not lose it, but not be as aggressive as we typically are each month. The importance, obviously, of this situation versus a traditional recession, or is that we know we're going to come back. We know this is going to bounce back. We know that we're going to be able to start seeing our customers again, maybe in limited capacity, but that's going to happen within the next couple months. This isn't something that's going to last years. So, I think the outlook and working with clients that really are looking towards the future, and is going to help with the SEO and the overall placement. They want to make sure when they come out of this that they're ahead of the game. There are a lot of businesses that have just cut all advertising completely. And what I'm advising clients to do is do what you can to maintain what you have. I have some clients that they are doing still well. So what we've done is we've shifted budgets. So maybe we've taken some money from SEO, moved it into social media. We've taken our search ad spend, which is considerably down just in terms of number of searches nowadays, and moved it more into a brand building campaign. So, keeping that name out there, whether it's through maintaining SEO or pivoting and working with different mediums right now where people are spending their time, the whole goal is just to continue to keep that brand out in front of people. We're doing a lot more content marketing, doing a lot more email marketing. And the reason being is we just need to engage and keep the brand alive in consumers' minds.
Right, right. Also, Jeff, talking about the importance of content, obviously, quality content creation requires time and investment. So what are your thoughts on, refreshing an existing old page versus, creating an entirely new one?
You want to do both. You don't want existing pages. There's authority and there's value with older pages that are there. You can be reusing that content, by freshening those pages up. And then you always want to be creating new content. That's just good practice. Whether it's content pages, whether it's blog articles, you want to have that content that's continuing to be fresh and updated for your consumers. You want your website to become a resource to people. So the only way it's going to become a resource is if it's not stale.
Right, right. In your opinion, are press releases a great way to build SEO?
Um, Press releases have really lost, I think, the authority that they used to have. I think you could do a lot more. And just like everything in SEO that has changed over the last 15, 20 years, once Google sees that you start abusing something, they'll downgrade it. The value of it won't be as much. And I think that's one of the things you saw with press releases is that it was overly abused specific to SEO, and they downgraded the value of that. I still think there is value in press releases if they're done correctly, and if the content is warrants a press release. Just throwing a press release out there to throw a press release out there, I don't think is effective as it once was, because it's not going to be as engaging. So if you have something that is happening with your business, throwing a press release out there, absolutely, I think can provide value with SEO.
Right, right. Well, Jeff, how does your link building strategy look like?
Our link building strategy is twofold. It's really based on where the client is, the competition that they have, and what needs to be done. With obviously the clear separation between Google My Business and organic rankings, there's two different strategies. We have the citations and local directories and social sites and profiles and forums that we're definitely using for Google My Business. That link building does help, the organic search. There are pet press releases. There are guest posting on blogs, and those types of links I think are still valuable as long as the quality is there.
Right.
The big thing for us is really making sure that there's a relation to our client and where that link is. If it's irrelevant, or if that website's not relevant in any way to the domain that we're building a link for, it's a waste of time.
Right,
So,
right.
we need to make sure that it's relevant to what we're trying to go after.
Right. Also, what about no follow links? I mean, how important is the ratio between, do follow, no follow?
Yeah, I mean, and in being an SEO, this one well. You could go to any forum, any blog, any source, and the percentage is going to be across the board. I think that there's always been a healthy no follow link policy out there. Having those no follow links certainly does make your links and your link portfolio look much more organic than having just only follow links. So there's not a set percentage that we go after. When we're talking and doing a link analysis and monitoring links for an ongoing SEO campaign, we're looking at the no follow versus the follow. If we feel that this person in this domain name has enough no follows, then we won't focus much on that. If we feel they're very thin, then yes, we will include no follow links in that link building strategy. It's a case-by-case basis. There's not a set for every 10 we have to build one no follow or two no follows. It's a case-by-case basis, because if someone has a lot of no follow links, why would I be building more?
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, it's all about making it look very natural, because,
Yes.
you can't just go out there and bombard a brand new website with, do follows on all money keywords. It will just raise a red flag like that. So yeah, absolutely. I think, common sense is very important these days, in SEO as compared to the earlier days where you could just, spam with links and get rankings.
Yep, absolutely. I'd agree.
So, so Jeff, with so many years of experience in marketing, what has your biggest challenge been so far?
Um, Consumer habits. I'd say that's the biggest thing would be the consumer habits. Where they start spending their time. It's you look at just social media, for example. Years ago we could just spend time on Facebook and we would be great, we'd be fine. Now, based on your demographics, Facebook might not even be the most viable option for you. So it really is consumer habits on where that person is and how you're going to reach them with the right message. You know,
Right.
they, what we could do in years past is very limited in number of characters, for example, with Twitter. So it's just the consumer habits is always going to be the challenge that you have with marketing.
Right. What about voice search? How do you see that, becoming popular?
So voice search, people have been talking about it now, if I'd say for a couple of years. The voice search is voice search is here. You need to spend heavy attention on voice search. Honestly, I don't think it's there yet for local businesses. It's definitely important to pay attention to and to start implementing best practices for voice search. But you're still not seeing a ton of people looking on a local level for businesses. The way people are using local search, is definitely through brands that they're already familiar with, phone numbers, how to get there, how to get in contact with them. They're asking a lot of questions. So based on what your business is and information you provide, voice search could be viable, but for most local businesses, it's not quite there yet.
I think, even going forward, if voice becomes popular, it'll also depend on the kind of business you are in. I mean, if I have
Mm-hmm.
to go to a doctor, in health, I might not be comfortable in doing a voice search and seeing what comes up, right? I would want to do some research online,
Yep.
about the doctor, before I actually go there. So I think even if voice search becomes popular, like you said earlier, it depends what your customer, is looking at, and like his behavior based on the business you are in.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean you hit that right on the head. Especially in medical, the thing that you'll find is that people are going to do a lot of their research before they'll even make contact. So they're not going to use a voice search just to make contact on someone they're not familiar with. Again, voice search is quite different because you don't have as much access to be able to do that research as you do
Right.
when you're on a computer and you have a keyboard and you have a mouse that you can be quickly navigating from business to business to do that type of research. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
it'll definitely vary based on the type of business that you're trying to optimize for.
Right. Also, I mean, I'm a big fan of LinkedIn. I mean, I think even as agencies, it is a very good, marketing and a lead gen tool. Do
Mm-hmm.
you use LinkedIn? And if yes, like, any best practices?
Yeah, so funny you asked that. I did start just being more active with LinkedIn. I'd say middle of last year. One of the things that you're seeing with LinkedIn is that they're just starting to explode in terms of the usage and how people are interacting with it. LinkedIn is it's kind of been one of those things that's always been there, and for some reason, I would say last year, maybe the end of 2018, you started to see just more and more usage and interaction between users on LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is going to be a very viable advertising medium for this year and moving into 2021. I see it being a huge tool for lead generation for businesses that are a B2B.
Right, right. Well, Jeff, I know, you have limited time today, but before you go and, I get hold of you some other time, you have been in sales and you have been doing account management for a long time now. So,
Mm-hmm.
my last question to you would be that what do you think account managers normally get wrong while managing clients? And what would some of your tips be to the account managers out there? I'm mainly talking about the digital space.
So I would say, and this is a lot from client feedback, that some of the things when it comes to account management and managing multiple clients is take responsibility. You're not always going to do things right, but if you own up to it and you fix it, that goes a long way with the relationship that you can build with the client. Answer your phone. Too many people in the digital space just want to rely on text. They want to rely on email. And most people want to just have a talk, especially business owners. They want to talk with who's ever working on their projects. So, it's being accountable and being available is the biggest step. You know, everyone, everyone does, SEO, or everyone does marketing. Not to say that, I'm this much better than that person, but you know what? We are good at what we do. And one of the reasons customers stay with me is that, one, I listen to them, I pick up the phone, I respond, and I take responsibility if something does go wrong.
Right, right. Yeah, and I think, being transparent and having that connect with your clients is very important, because at the end of the day, when you are trying new stuff, and even like, in SEO, you can't always be right. But if you have tracked it well, and if you are being transparent with your client, and you tell them that, hey, this is what went wrong, and we know that this
Mm-hmm.
went wrong. So now we kind of are, optimizing the strategy accordingly. He at least
Yep.
knows where we stand, rather than just waiting for 6 months or a year and then seeing nothing has happened and not knowing the
Mm-hmm.
reason behind it. I think that is one of the main reasons that clients in marketing cancel, because they were never aware of what was happening with their accounts.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly with that. And I'll give you a great example is just when it comes to SEO and the relationship and having that transparency is there was, I don't know how many, a number of major updates last year just with Google alone that really had strong implications in terms of negative rankings for people. Some had great ones when these changes came out, but we saw clients that did have drops, and some had significant drops based on the changes to their algorithm updates. And being transparent and letting people know, okay, yes, we took a hit. Maybe we lost a spot. Maybe we lost 4. Maybe we lost 5. Maybe we went to page 2. But letting them know that, one, we're on top of it. 2, we'll identify why that was. And 3, more importantly, we'll fix it. And just being candid and having a frank conversation like that is appreciated by clients. So, if you can't be frank with your clients and can't have a candid conversation, you shouldn't be in account management. That's kind of what it takes. You need to be able to take it on the chin, own up to it, but more importantly, fix it.
Right, right. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for your time today. It was lovely chatting with you. And,
Yep, I appreciate it. Thank you.
be healthy, be safe, and I'll talk to you soon.
You as well. I appreciate it. Thank you, Dawood.
Take care, buddy.
You as well.